Another week in pro wrestling, another big time, big money story that is taking up all the news headlines. Fortunately, thank God, this time it doesn't involve somebody passing away. I swear I think we've met our quota of deaths for the year 2023 in the business. Hell, I think we met it last week, still rocked from that. But this time it involves a firing. AEW has fired CM Punk. The announcement was made on Saturday, right before Collision went live in Chicago, Illinois. Ironically enough, Punk's hometown. It was dropped on their X page, formerly known as Twitter. I'm still used to calling it Twitter, but what have you. Where a statement was made that Punk was fired with cause. So, needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't over. This is just getting started. Punk has already stated he's going to drop a tell-all, and the guy can't, he can't just walk away. He will make sure every bridge is scorched earth on his way out the door, and this one, it ought to be interesting. Now, I'm going to give Tony Khan a ton of credit here, okay? And I have been both critical and praiseful of Khan, but this time he deserves full credit in the world. The man finally put his hands behind his back, moved him up and down that little thing between his shoulders and his butthole, and realized he has a spine. About time he showed it. CM Punk should have been fired last year, guys. There's no nice way of putting it. After the embarrassment that happened at All Out, in both the press conference and afterwards, with the big fist fight with Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Ace Steel, Larry the Dog. It was disgraceful what went down. It really was. Yeah, Punk goes away for a while. The Bucks and Omega go away for a while. The latter comes back. They're on their best behavior. Now, they had that little goofy incident where they mocked the whole ordeal, whatever. They've kept their shit together since then. It's been nothing but smooth sailing. This motherfucker comes back, and on day one, by the way, he gets his own brand. He gets his own brand. He gets his own TV show with the people he's supposed to get along with, so he could, everything can be smooth and harmonious. And, Tony's idea of keeping this in check is to keep them separated. Day one, he's not even on the mic a minute, and he throws barbs at the Young Bucks. Along the way, he gets into skirmishes with Ryan Nemeth, has him escorted out of the building because of a Twitter/X comment, has Christopher Daniels removed from the building because Daniels is friendly with the Bucks. It's just one thing after the other. Oh, by the way, the peg warmer comment he made about Adam Page, it was just completely out of the blue. But at least he apologized via text, according to him. The latest final straw, though, happened at Wembley Stadium. Arguably biggest show in AEW history. And I'm not absolving blame from Jack Perry here. So before anybody jumps on here, it's two sides, and Perry was a punk. I get it, okay? Perry was immature. But those of you that don't know the story, a couple of weeks ago on Collision, the two had a bit of a verbal altercation, which started all this garbage, where Perry wanted to take a week or two off TV, wanted to do a glass spot. He said, she said, says that multiple people told him no. Said it's not a good idea. They sent Punk to talk to him, and Punk dressed him down and said, don't do that here. You want to do it, go to Wednesday nights. So Perry, being as he is, decides to do the spot in his FTW title match in the buy-in in Wembley with Hook. Looks in the mirror, looks in the camera and says, cry me a river. Roll glass, cry me a river. Immature as shit. No other way around it. Should have just kept his fucking mouth shut. Did it. And like Punk himself said, sometimes it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. Right? Those were his own words in his last shoot interview when he went scorched earth on the WWE. As soon as he gets back behind the curtain, it turns into World War fucking III. Which, I've heard everything from chokes were thrown, hair was pulled. I've heard 6 different stories, and all of it basically was that these two had a physical altercation that ended with Punk lunging at his boss saying, I fucking hate this place. Perry was sent home. He's indefinitely suspended. Punk's fired. And frankly, not a moment too soon. In no world and in no profession in it can you ever lunge at your boss, okay? And I know there are stories of Nails attacking Vince McMahon. By the way, he was fired and basically blacklisted from the business. We all love the Montreal Screwjob ending where Brett cold clocked Vince McMahon, okay? That's not reality, guys, okay? Believe me, we all have bosses and owners of companies that piss us off, okay? I have one too. In recent days, the owner of the company I work for made me want to fucking slam my head off the wall, okay? It's where you bite down hard and you just say, yeah, cool, whatever. And you go home, fuck you, kiss my ass, say everything you want to about them, and then the next day it's business as usual. You do not lunge at your boss, and you cannot attack every coworker that pisses you off. Believe me, if I attacked every coworker that's pissed me off in the 27 years that I've worked, 28 years that I've worked, I'd be getting in more fights. I'd have a fight resume that would make Mike Tyson blush. You can't do it. And I know Bubba Ray Dudley in his infinite wisdom said back in the day he would have got his ass kicked. Okay, Bubba, this isn't 2005 anymore. Business is different now, in case you haven't noticed. Times have changed. We don't handle shit by beating each other up like it's the fucking Old West. Bottom line, the biggest thing about Punk is this, and I find it kind of ironic. The minute Jack Perry walked through that curtain over comments, this guy was ready to throw down like it was his next non-existent UFC fight, okay? This guy was trying to compensate for what he didn't do in the UFC, apparently, with Jack Perry. But it's funny, since coming back, he has thrown barbs at the Young Bucks. He's thrown barbs at Adam Page unprovoked. Had nasty comments to say to Ryan Nemeth to his face. The motherfucker can dish it, right? How many people did he drag under the bus on his way out the door in the WWE? This guy basically ruined Ryan Reeves' career in professional wrestling. Now, granted, Ryback has done himself no favors over the years. I will be the first to say it. But this guy started the downward descent of Ryback's career. Nobody will ever take him seriously again. Since being in AEW, this guy has had nasty shit to say about Jon Moxley. This guy has had nasty shit to say about Chris Jericho. And if you believe recent reports, this guy went up and was blatantly disrespectful to William fucking Regal on his first day in the company. William Regal is as salt of the earth as salt gets. There are a few people in this business that can walk in and say there's nobody that has a bad word to say. Regal's one of them. Punk, when Regal attempted to shake his hand, blew him off. Now, this is the same guy that talks about the disrespect that Adam Page and some of the other wrestlers showed the veterans. Yet, he showed the ultimate disrespect to William Regal and called him a stooge. This fucker should have been thrown out on his ass and had his bags thrown out with him. Long ago. But again, he can dish it. But God forbid you say something back. God forbid. He'll throw every barb out there known to mankind. Remember the comments he made about Miz on Twitter? Suck a blood-covered dick. You know, whatever the hell it is he said. He'll throw it out there, but he certainly, you give it back to him, suddenly he's got a case of the fucking limber tail, and suddenly he's ready to fight. I'm going to say to CM Punk, and I know he's not listening to this, but here's the bottom line. You can't take the heat, don't light the fucking stove. Bottom line. You can't take people talking shit about you, then don't dish it out. None other people saying that he's going back to WWE, yada yada. It's not happening. Okay? It is not happening. Vince McMahon couldn't stand CM Punk. As much as Vince McMahon couldn't stand him, Triple H despises him worse. And oh, by the way, guess who's back in WWE now? William Regal. The same William Regal who was blatantly disrespected by Punk, called a stooge on his first day in the company. Not that Regal will hold resentment, okay, but a lot of people there will, because everybody loves William Regal. Okay, this is the guy that when WWE fired him, had people willing to quit. They were ready to ball. And we're talking high-ended people that were ready to step down and turn in their resignations, and wrestlers that were ready to retire. This guy will not be able to be fucking shown. He will not be able to show his face in the fucking WWE locker room. He will not show up on TV, okay? Not to mention the guys in the roster already that don't like him. Roman's not particularly crazy about him. Now, Roman would probably put business aside and, put that aside and work with him. Him and Cody aren't the best of friends. Seth don't like him. This isn't happening, guys. CM Punk basically took the last opportunity in his pro wrestling career and shot it in the ass. Unless he wants to go to Impact. Nothing wrong with that. Impact has been putting on some incredible product for a long time. And believe me, if they hadn't had such a shitty reputation for being all over the map over the last 20 plus years, we'd be taking a look at Impact in a much higher light. But believe me, Punk ain't making the money in Impact that he made in AEW. Never mind WWE. And if he thinks that he was going to get fired without cause and have this big money to go away, which may have been his intent, he's in for another fucking story. So you can go out and put all these smear pieces out. And I'm sure the fucking the shoot against the company is going to be great. Work with children and all this other stuff. And yeah, you're right. Some of these people need to grow the fuck up. Some of these people in AEW need to gain some professionalism. But when I talk about people that need to grow up, nobody needs to do more so than the man that he looks at in the mirror every day, and that's Phillip Brooks, CM Punk himself. And if this is the end of his wrestling career, it is a damn shame. It is a damn shame, but not a particularly shocking one. There's no saying, once a malcontent, always a fucking malcontent. This guy, as much as we want to jump up and down and applaud what he had to say on Colt Cabana's podcast, which is funny because that podcast, years later, the falling out those two had over that podcast was what started the Brawl Out fiasco in the beginning and the end of Punk's career. Think about that. That's kind of ironic. As much as we all loved what he said on Cabana's show, and everybody was willing to listen to it because we were finding reasons to hate on Vince McMahon, and I get it. The monopoly ran strong, and there was a lot of bullshit that went on there, and still is. Okay? You're talking about a guy who worked high-profile programs with The Undertaker at WrestleMania, okay? How many people would have given their left fucking arm to work a program with WrestleMania, let alone a WrestleMania program with Mania? Punk did, wasn't enough. Because he didn't close out the damn show. Worked a program with The Rock, same thing goes. People would walk barefoot through hell to work a program with Rock. Punk had one, wasn't enough. Guy had one of the longest title reigns in modern WWE history. That has now since been eclipsed by Roman Reigns, but that's neither here nor there. That's the pettiness of WWE. That wasn't enough. Because he didn't close out WrestleMania. He didn't close the damn show. He's a malcontent. He's a malcontent who's cut everybody's throat along the fucking way. Look at the stories. Even in the glory days, in his indie days. Don't get close to this guy because he will cut your throat fast. Because CM Punk, at the end of the day, as much as he'll say all the right things, I'm trying to run a business, I'm trying to make this a better place, I'm trying to leave the business a better place than I inherited, CM Punk has always been about one person, and one person only. And that person is CM Punk. Thank you for listening. We'll talk soon.